Residents of Melbury Abbas and Cann say they're fed up with drivers cutting corners and putting people at risk as they try to get around the closure of the C13 road through Dinah's Hollow, where bank stabilisation work on that portion of the Higher Blandford Road continues and shuts the road until December.
If we stand on the corner of Melbury Street and White Pit Lane, we might see 3 or 4 cars coming out of there in an hour that we're standing there at busy times. And we're seeing up to over 20 vehicles going down there an hour at the moment, so there's definitely increased traffic.
The concerns dominated the February meeting of the Melbury Abbas and Cann Parish Council as villagers described what life's been like since traffic was diverted onto the narrow village lanes from the start of January. One of the strongest themes voiced by resident Julia Prichard was speed.
The speed of vehicles coming through the village we think is noticeably faster because it's quieter.
Dorset councillor Jane Somper thought the temporary 20-mile-an-hour speed reduction on the villages on the A350, including Compton and Fontmell, was an issue because people were speeding up outside those areas and driving aggressively behind vehicles that stuck to the limit.
I think there are some issues around this 20 miles an hour on the A350. I think people are driving extremely dangerously. I've experienced it myself, but being tailgated and then overtaken at speed on blind bends, and just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Julia Prichard's primary concern was speeding on the side lanes around Melbury.
The increased speed and volume of traffic down White Pit Lane is dangerous for walkers, runners, and we've got anecdotal stories of a couple of sort of near misses and stuff.
Many locals have had the same experience. Quarry Lane resident Nigel.
We have a straighter road, so you get excessive vehicle speeds.
Yeah.
The question would be the 20-mile-an-hour signage, is that advisory or is it law? Is that enforced by police, I trust? But we're not seeing any, well, very few cars are keeping to that.
There's more problems just up from the village hall.
I live on the corner of Quarry Lane and West Lane. Again, it's the speed at which those people are coming down West Lane and turning right into Quarry Lane. There will be an accident there. I had a near miss the other day because I have to reverse up my drive, and the lady coming down the lane decided to come behind me while I was reversing.
Andrew lives on Hillside and has found it difficult leaving his property.
Reversing out of your drive, you can't hardly walk the dog along there. People are coming past 50 mile an hour plus. They're coming along easily. And I've stopped some people. Every morning when I walk the dog, I'm out at 6. There's a transit van which comes round the wrong way every day.
Parish Council Chairman Ben Johnson says he's asked Dorset Council for a residents-only sign to stop drivers using that road as a cut-through. He's found that many people are going to distant destinations.
I had to stop traffic today, and everyone that I stopped were all trying to get to Poole or Bournemouth or wherever. And it's like, well, and their sat-nav was taking them down there. I just said, well, there's no access, you have to turn around.
And some motorists are putting locals' lives at risk because they're ignoring the one-way diversion routes.
And a lady came down yesterday the wrong way, down Quarry Lane. She looked right, and something was coming down West Lane, wanted to go right, and there was nearly a collision then.
2 commercial vehicles are continually driving against the traffic flow around Hillside.
A plumbing van, which has been coming around the wrong way. And I have stopped and said to people, you know, like that, and I got a mouthful and got told, I'll do what I want to do, no one tells me what.
Just a snapshot of some of the concerns shared at the Parish Council meeting on Wednesday night. As the discussion moved on, councillors heard in more detail from Julia Prichard. She's been closely monitoring traffic since the closure of the Hollow, and she said that while residents were pleased with how quickly the project team seems to respond to emails, there were concerns that official monitoring didn't always reflect what was happening outside standard working hours. She told the meeting residents had been gathering their own evidence.
And so what we've done along that piece of road and down White Pit Lane is used security cameras to do vehicle counts. So we've got some hard data to look at. Now, we're not recording vehicle regs, can't see who's driving or anything like that, but we can do 24/7 vehicle counts. So while the barriers have been manned, the volume of traffic is obviously it's pretty quiet during the day. Between 30, we've only done a small amount of data sampling, right, so we might say we want to do more, but only between 30 and 40% of daily traffic comes through 9 to 5. So when they're not there, at the weekends in particular, and especially sort of between 7:30 and 9 and 5 and 6, it's really busy, and cars are coming, vehicles are coming through, you know, a number at a time. So obviously someone's coming down, and then everyone's like, well, I'm going to Chancellor as well. The police report there have been no lorries, no coaches, that's all working, just a handful of motorbikes. It's mainly cars and trucks and delivery vehicles that we've seen going. On Spread Eagle Hill, it's sort of more going north in the evenings and more going south in the mornings, but it is broadly 50-50. And for the traffic that's coming down Spread Eagle Hill, those volumes correlate pretty much with the volumes going down Whitepit Lane. But I guess the assumption must be that most of the traffic going south down Spread Eagle Hill has probably come down the Quarry Lane school lane, so you've probably got a similar issue there.
There have been enforcement staff at barrier points stopping people who shouldn't be driving into Melbury from entering the village. Councillor Roy Phillips said those barriers were originally only meant to be manned in the first month, but they're going to be extended.
4 barriers are supposed to be manned the whole of January, and then 2 of the barriers, Whitepit Lane and the top of Spread Eagle, were going to be withdrawn. As there has been quite a lot of problems, they're now going to extend that for another month. So we'll see what happens at the end of February. The idea then is they're trying to involve the police to actually monitor and try to do some enforcement if they can, and then to publicise that on social media, so that will then encourage people not to actually speed through the village, which they are doing now.
William Prichard argued visible consequences mattered.
Taking someone to court on that and finding them and making sure that becomes well known would be a very positive step.
Dorset Councillor Jane Somper addressed growing frustration about enforcement and acknowledged that the 20-mile-an-hour limits on the A350 were being widely ignored. She said the issue wasn't just behaviour, but enforceability.
Further work is ongoing with the police to ensure that temporary 20-mile-an-hour limits can be properly enforced. This is important. And additional signage may be introduced. To reduce visual clutter at side road junctions along the A350, a further temporary traffic order is being considered. This allows some signs to be repositioned slightly further back, where there is more available verge on road.
Some of those questions about enforceability are down to confusion.
Initially, when the 20 signs were put up, some of the 30 signs were still visible, which is confusing and therefore probably wouldn't be enforceable.
And Jane also confirmed that community speedwatch teams have been affected.
We're also having discussions with the community speedwatch teams as well, who've been advised not to carry out community speedwatch at the moment.
The suspension of the speedwatch activity in Fontmell Magna was news to the Melbury Abbas and Cann speedwatch volunteers, who monitor speeding levels in their parish on the A350 and on the C13. But Councillor William Prichard noted when an officer joins them and takes photographs, 30 miles an hour and above seems to be the cut-off point.
She will only need to issue tickets if it's 30 miles an hour.
30, yeah.
Yeah, so there are discussions on the enforceability, and a lot of that is to do with the signage.
Dorset's Police and Crime Commissioner David Sidwick has said he's supportive of the Speedwatch initiative in Fontmell. We contacted the PCC office to see whether they had a comment. They passed this on to the police force. They've not yet replied. The point concerned several councillors who noted that local volunteers in Melbury Abbas and Cann played a key role in managing speed through villages.
Obviously, we can continue to report in the normal way. With speeding and dangerous driving, that is a police matter.
You may recall during the first week of closure of the C13 in January, temporary traffic lights installed on the A350 at Incombe Head and at Claysmore School to control the extra volume there created some disruption. On day 1, the Incombe light heads near Breezy Ridge were stuck on red, causing major tailbacks in the morning rush. It happened again the next day. Jane says Dorset Council officers say it was a technical fault on the first day, but the repeat issue wasn't.
In practice, delays were caused by vehicles passing through red lights. As the signals respond to vehicle movement, they are able to compensate by extending green time where progress has been blocked by non-compliant drivers.
And beyond traffic, the meeting turned to concerns about the delivery of the Dinah's Hollow project. Several residents questioned whether the work would be completed within this stated 12-month time frame. Nigel told the meeting.
I don't know exactly what vegetation they're cutting, but I can't see hardly any trees being removed today. I haven't walked up there, obviously it's a work site. but I hear that they're going to phase the vegetation removal over several months. We've got 3 and a bit weeks of a period before the bird nesting season starts. And why phase vegetation removal? It has to be done this year after the bird nesting season. There's more cost. You need an ecologist on a daily basis to witness the vegetation being cut from the 1st of March onwards. The question would be, why isn't the vegetation cut in the next 3 weeks? Crack on with it. If it needs to be cut and you've got permission to fell and remove vegetation, get on and do it now. There's less damage to flora, fauna and nesting birds, and do it in the dormant period. That is good practice.
It seems villagers want to know if there's a penalty if contractors overrun.
I don't see much progress. It's meant to be done in a year, but then they say, well, it might be 18 months. You know, are there key performance indicators? Is there a budget? What happens if they go over budget? Who pays? Is it penalties on the contractors? Or is it the good old taxpayer that sucks it up as ever?
Dorset Council told us they can't talk about commercially sensitive matters, but villagers want an answer. As the meeting drew to a close, councillors acknowledged the tension. Residents credited the project team with being responsive to individual concerns, but many remain uneasy about enforcement, timescales, and whether disruption could stretch on longer than expected. For now, residents say they want a clearer enforcement regime, continued barrier staffing, and practical steps to make diversion routes safer. What happens next, and how quickly, remains unresolved.